right. So this Lunch and Learn is going to be focused around the LUMA framework that we're adopting. This is something that we've looked at for a bit. Julie had found this when we were doing some work with the Cummins project, and I think Jeff had done a little bit of research back in the day as well, just investigation into it. Here recently, we know that we want to understand users and understand the problems just a little bit deeper. And this tool will, as we walk through it, just provides an easy to understand formula for achieving our research and just how we walk through projects. So this is interactive. So the way this is going to work is we're going to have a little bit of a presentation for the first 20 minutes or so, and then we're going to break out and we're going to do an exercise together. So hoping that this is a fun one. So what is LUMA? LUMA equips people to be collaborative problem solvers through a framework focused on human-centered design, supported by digital resources and expert guidance. The expert guidance isn't so much that we have consultants that are helping us with this. They just have a wealth of resources as far as how to run these different methodologies and how to, tips on facilitation. They have a lot of Mural and Miro and FigJam resources as far as templates for creating and running these sessions. All right, so here are some key points. So this is traditionally we've done more of a design thinking framework when it comes to projects. In the past, we've looked and we've prescribed pretty closely to the Google Sprint framework in the past, and we just know that there's problems with that. Number one, the Google Sprint is a 5-day process. While we can achieve that, that's for most of our customers, it's just hard to even get people in a room in 5 days, right? So it takes a few days just to even do that. So this is not a design framework. It is based in human-centered design, just understanding users. This is a problem-solving framework. This is a framework that, as I was doing some research into this and doing the training, I actually found it's applicable to everyday life, right? Not just discoveries. It's things. There's recipes which we'll go into that deal with, you could create a chore list, or like any, we could look at doing some exercises around if we wanted to plan a company event like a picnic or something. Like what does everybody want to do? So this is a pretty robust framework, and we can use it at any time to understand a problem. And it's not just, again, I want to stress this is very important. This is not a design tool or a design framework. This is a framework that we're hoping that the entire company can leverage to understand problems and solutions. We definitely right now are using it in the discovery process. My hope is that as we have more complex features that come up in long-term projects, that we can leverage this framework in everyday work as well, not just the discovery phase of projects. We also know that while this is a great platform and a framework, there is not a silver bullet to what we do. We're consultants, and the projects vary, and the needs vary. So this is going to be something that we look to expand in the future. But this is a really great foundation, a great foundational framework for our team. So the framework is broken up into 3 sections. The first section is looking. Then there's an understanding section and a making. This framework also provides a way for the team to go in and create your own sessions based on what you're trying to what the outcomes you need, right? And then it also has pre-canned recipes as well, which are really cool. So I'm using some terms that I'll define more deeply here in a moment. But these are some of the highlights here. So here's a framework overview. This is the looking, understanding, and making. You'll see that it's broken up into, under the looking, we have ethnographic research, which is really about understanding people, right? So you'll see interviewing and fly-on-the-wall observations, some contextual inquiries, walk a mile immersion, which is basically you doing the job, right? In understanding, we've got people and systems, patterns and priorities, and problem framing. And I think this is one that I'm really excited about, the problem framing. So specifically around the abstract laddering, we can talk more about that down the road. But in just making sure that one of the questions that I always have as a designer when I'm on a project is, are we solving the right problem, right? A customer may come to us with an objective, but are we treating the symptom, or are we actually making the change that we need to make? And then the making is around, concepting and actually like sketching out some ideas. So we've got concept ideation, modeling and prototyping, and then design rationale. So there's a bunch of, and all of these items underneath each one of the headings are methodologies, like exercises and methods of doing the research. All right, and the other cool thing about this is that it's really agnostic as far as our customer framework and like how they're working on projects. So there definitely is a heavily slant to Agile, right? And we're an Agile shop, so that's great. There's also a lot of work inside of the business model canvas. Obviously the Google design sprints, which are what we're transitioning out of. So it's kind of cool that it works inside of any of the main big approaches, project approaches. And feel free, if anybody has any questions, please just interrupt me. It's okay. This is a conversation. Correct. Yeah, it basically dovetails in with Agile. It's set up in a way that I don't necessarily know that it expedites it in any way, but it fits really nicely with it. All right, so why are we making this change? So design, there's been a lot of conversation here lately within the last, 6 months. I've seen several articles just around design thinking. Design thinking is a great concept, but the promises that it gave us haven't really come to fruition. The concept of if we empathize hard enough, we will solve the problems isn't necessarily always accurate, right? It definitely helps. So at DeveloperTown, we're looking further into the future, right? We know that we need to evolve the design thinking process and how we're approaching projects, and so we're looking down the road. So we're also looking to create a little bit of differentiation between us and all of our competitors here, the SEPs and those type of companies. So we're looking to leverage a fresh framework that will hopefully give us more insight and understanding into the customer's problems as well as their user's journey. So it's a proven framework. It's been around for a while. It gives us stability when there are continual shifts in industry and environments, right? So we have a core framework that the entire team can now look back and lean on to solve problems. I think another really big benefit is just it provides a common language and tools across all the different departments. So all of us speaking the same language is really important when for full understanding, right? It provides a flexibility in solving a wide range of business problems and personal problems. My poor kid, I've ran these, not ran them, but kind of taken some of the essences out and brought them into the family environment. In our opinion, this is the next step after design thinking for DeveloperTown. And again, it's not the silver bullet, but it will be an iterative process as we continue to leverage this. The common shared vocabulary, turning big opportunities into bigger wins because we're addressing the core problem, hopefully, right? Rather than treating the symptoms. Especially in healthcare, right? Healthcare is, and fintech, but healthcare specifically, it's just so critical to really understand what the user needs. And then the thing that initially really drew me to this framework was it puts these exercises together in a very easy to understand and an easy way for us to explain to our customers. So whenever we would go in and we would do personas in the past, customers would always kind of push back a little bit because they don't understand the value, right? But if we're doing a series of exercises that leads to an outcome, it's easy for them to understand why we would want to invest the time, why we would like for them to join us in that investment. All right, so DT and LUMA. So current state, we're right now the design team and some of the other people at DT have been leveraging the base methods from LUMA. So again, like I'm going to do a demo here of the LUMA Workplace, the actual software, so you can see what I mean there. But right now, we're just in basically a 12-month phase where we are just running base LUMA exercises and methodologies. We've added in a few, just so it's not strictly base, I guess. We've included in the True North as well. Right now, we're currently leveraging LUMA heavily in discovery workshops. Again, the hope is that that bleeds into regular feature work wherever it makes sense. Right? Definitely not looking to complicate things, but where we need deeper understanding, this will hopefully be a really good tool. I've used it to help plan internal team meetings, which has been really fun. And I did go through the practitioner certification. So LUMA, as a company, they have a couple of different certifications. They've got a practitioner. They have and a facilitator certification. It was really fun training, actually. Along with that training, we have delivered the LUMA book. I can't believe I didn't bring it up with me. But there's LUMA books and LUMA flashcards, and we've shared that throughout. Thank you, Alex. And he's going to go and grab it. So we've shared those books throughout with different people on the team. Future state, obviously, we'd like to start to add in our own methodologies, right? We want to evaluate those, we want to test them, and then bring them into the tool as just so it's more targeted to what we do on a daily basis, right? With our consulting practice. And then, obviously, I've mentioned leveraging beyond just the actual framework and discovery. Okay, so LUMA Institute is the company. LUMA Workplace is the software, right? So they kind of have a thing, have a brand ecosystem there. So when you log in, it asks you, how can we help you collaborate today? So it's highly collaborative. So you can get everyone on the same page. There's 15 different recipes there. If we want to come up with better ideas, there's another 13 recipes. Or understanding people's goals, there's a handful of recipes. Look at that. We've got books here. Along with strategies for the job. So there might be, there's definitely recipes around business consulting or product development that are 100% applicable to things we do all the time. And hopefully will make people's lives a little bit easier. So they have this concept of recipes. So inside of the three different phases, there's a bunch of exercises, right? The things that we've all heard, personas, right? Persona experience mapping. Inside of those, you have recipes that are combinations of those exercises to deliver the end goal, whatever you're trying to find, whether it's research data or whether it's wireframe designs or personas. It has recipes to get you, here are the steps that you should take or you could take to reach the end deliverable. So I'm just showcasing some of the screenshots here. So you'll see that it's industry and job or topic specific. So around business consulting, life at home, nonprofits, product development. There's a bunch of them, a bunch of different categories here. So as you dig in, you'll see that inside of product development, I'm just showing what that next screen looks like. It gives you ways or recipes for different common things people are looking to solve with LUMA, right? Ways to observe and learn from existing experiences, right? Gaining firsthand knowledge of situations or identifying pain points through observation and reflection, right? And then there are several different recipes around that. And then when you get into the exercise, this is super awesome, I think. I'm pretty excited about this. When you get inside of this, it explains the exercise, and it gives you videos of watching facilitators actually walk groups through this practice. And then it also gives you all kinds of help, right? Additional video or additional, template resources, whether it's Miro or, FigJam or whatever. It gives you like tips, like common pitfalls, common problems that facilitators encounter with different exercises, and how to address that. So pretty cool stuff. And there's a lot here, right? A lot of opportunity for sure. All right, so here's some more. Just here's a tips and advice, and then examples. So this shows what the outputs would be from this exercise, the affinity clustering. I can attest this is one of my favorites, and that is what it looks like, a mess. All right. So now we're going to get into the actual LUMA workplace software. So what's with all the recipes, right? I've kind of explained a little bit of that. It does give us the ability to create our own recipes, and I've done that. I'll show you. I'll actually demo this software in a moment. We've started this. I believe the first one was roughly Ion, or maybe it was IMG. It's been about a year since we've started these. Some features like learn how to run the methods. I just touched on that. Step-by-step guides. You can search recipes by methods. So if you're looking to understand users, like like personas or journey maps, you can search by those different methodologies. Lots of video content, lots of example artifacts. So pretty cool, just to see like how other people do it versus how we would do it for our customers. The last bullet here, the shareable agenda. I tried to get our shareable agenda for today. I actually created a LUMA Workplace agenda for today, but I didn't own the calendar invite, so I don't think it got added. But here's what that looks like. So we typically will share this with a customer, and that way it just gives them a little bit of insight as to what to expect, right? So this is just showing that, hey, I'm going to show up to the room 30 minutes early just to test all this equipment. We're going to do a 30-minute LUMA presentation, and then we're going to do a couple of exercises together, right? And it actually gives time frames here, so that our customers know what to expect. It gives them it preps them without taking away stealing our thunder. So we found that very helpful. All right, so here's some recipe examples. Actually, I'm just going to go into LUMA Workplace rather than showing this. I'm actually going to show some. Let's just click on the recipes. So inside of product development, I think that's something we can all rally around, right? So ways to co-create alongside users and customers. So let's say we want to invite users to help shape the future of a product, service, or process. We often do that, right? So this is a 1 hour exercise. The difficulty is advanced. Group size 6 to 8 people, and the type is remote or in person. And when it says advanced, what it means is from a facilitation. There's going to be multiple steps here, and it's going to be complex to facilitate. So in this, there's 2 exercises. This is a 1 hour session. So reveal what people are thinking with what's on your radar. We're actually doing that here in a bit. We're going to be doing that, or a variant of that, actually. And then we're going to invite people into the design process with Build Your Own. That is an exercise where you create. It's more of an in-person type of thing. I think it's easier to do in person. You're basically giving them the Legos to design out their dream whatever, right? So let's say there's a data dashboard that we need to focus in on. What we would do is we would construct some like paper type elements that people could just pick up and build their own, right? Or we can just have them draw on a sheet of paper their dream dashboard. And that really gives us insight, and especially if you validate that with the rest of the team, right? If Evan and I are doing this, I might have very different needs or desires from the dashboard. So if we blend that with a voting type of system, then we get a little bit of alignment around what's important to people, right? So this is just one example. Here's a facilitation guide. In this particular exercise, there's just a couple of videos. Most of them, there's several. But, okay. So I'm going to pop back over here. Let's show some of the real-world sessions. So let's see here. I've shown today's LUMA session. We use this on IU Brain Care, right? So we actually had 2 different sessions, a 2.5-hour session and then roughly a 3-hour session. So let's look at what that looked like. So this was from 11:30 to 2 p.m. roughly. We started off with a stakeholder mapping, which is a precursor to personas, understanding the users that are using the software or would interface with the software. So this is a really cool exercise that really, well, to give you an example. So in the past, we used to do personas, and we would get in a design workshop, and we would just ask the customer, the stakeholders, hey, who are the players here? And they would give it to us, but invariably they would forget, right? They would forget a role or a really critical tertiary role, maybe an approval or something like that, approval step. So a stakeholder map, what it does is it not just lists out who the players are, it actually, let me show you. Here's some examples. So it actually shows what they're thinking and also their main job in the software, which helps us put basically connect the dots between how all these different users are leveraging the software. How are we doing? We all tracking? All right, cool. Let me pop back over here. Okay, so that was the one of the very first IU Brain Care session. So we did stakeholder mapping. We did a creative matrix. That's another one of my favorites because it's when you're talking about these type of projects, what you're looking to do is you're looking to expand ideas and then validate and constrict those down into just 1 or 2 really good ideas, right? And creative matrix is a fantastic way to just get outside of the box insights. It allows us to drop in, if we wanted to have a presentation or a break or a lunch, whatever, you can drop those into the agendas. And then we did, from there, we did some affinity clustering. We actually ran out of time in this, and that happens sometimes. It was a really good conversation with the customer, and we actually didn't get a chance to get to the push notification discussion. That happened the following day, or the following session. Not more manual. Yeah, more manual. Maybe in the future. So basically what I did was I had created the very first agenda. I held off on creating the second agenda. I had targets that I was looking for, but we basically held off. And that way when we created the second one, we just started back up with affinity clustering, right? And now that I think about it, I actually think that we jumped to the push notification conversation and started the affinity clustering and finished the affinity clustering in that second session. We also then, once we had all of those great ideas, we asked the team to visualize the vote, which is basically voting on what we think are good ideas, right? And then we cluster those ideas together based on the voting. We have a really good baseline for creating an effort impact. There's a bunch of different names for this charting, but basically what we did was we plotted out the most important clustered items that people thought were important, and then we we scored them based on importance and also effort, right? And then because when you do that, then you can tell the easy low-hanging fruit that are no-brainers for MVPs, and then other things that we could that we wanted to have inside of the MVP for the product. And then we did a couple of build your owns as well. Any questions about the recipes and canned recipes versus our own custom recipes before I move on? Okay. All right, so I already covered the shareable agendas. I'm going to slide right by that. Again, this is just something that's just a helper, right? And here's what it looks like in action. So this is actually YML. Isaac's actually on vacation. I hope he's enjoying it. But Isaac was a part of this. We had YML up in the design studio, and we ran I think it was a 4-hour session. And you'll see that, this isn't people sitting around a table, right? So we actually have them at the board when one of the things that we found is if we can get people up at and collaborating real time at a whiteboard, you get a lot more engagement, and you have a lot. I don't necessarily know about better ideas, but you have more of them because of that. Let's see here. Here's a whiteboard. It's dirty. I'm not an artist. I'm sorry. But here's a sitemap on the left-hand side, or not a sitemap, but a stakeholder map. Can't really zoom into it, but there's buyers, there's sales support, there's agencies, there's sales and marketing, all the different players that were around the YML software that they're looking to redesign and rebuild. Here's some affinity clustering going on the whiteboard over here. I would love to get away from sticky notes, but I think sticky notes are just so pervasive. I just wonder how many forests how many trees let me put that in a different way. How many trees we should be planting a year? This is an importance and an effort matrix. It's different this is ran differently, and I really like it. And then on the other side over here, you'll see some persona work. So how it will help DT and our customers? We'll have prescriptive research models and methods allowing for deeper understanding. That's one of the biggest things. The research is broken out into categories, creating wider research options. And we feel that the LUMA framework helps clients understand why we need to do the things that we need to do together to solve those problems. We include client teams in a highly collaborative process. We've always strived to do that. This is just another way to have more collaboration across project teams. And then it allows us to have more confidence as we work in unknown verticals, right? So we want to do more work in healthcare. We are going to get there. We're going to do more work in fintech. We will get there. And as we jump into those and as we gain knowledge, we'll have a framework that is a constant, that everybody can lean on, and that most of the people will be leveraging this, hopefully. So we'll have a lot of help, right? So if I have a question, I could go to Jaden and ask him, hey, I have a problem that I'm trying to solve, right? What have you done? So I think that's really important. And the shareable agendas, we just mentioned that. And then the support in the LUMA Workplace software is really impressive. It's not long form, which is kind of nice. And also, I wish there was some long form. But the resources that they provide are really, really solid. Okay, what about the future? Let's talk about that. So we're constantly looking forward. We know that we need to test and develop new methods specific to DT and our clients. This is not a consulting framework. This is not a design framework. This is a problem-solving framework. So there's going to be things that we're going to want to develop in-house that we're going to add to this toolbox. And I do think of it as a toolbox, right? We've got all these tools in here. It's just figuring out which wrench or which screwdriver to use. It allows us to open up more verticals in the future, right? Because we will have that foundation. If we ever did want to jump into different verticals, we could make that transition or add those verticals, and it would be an easier transition, I believe. And it gives us the ability to solve problems beyond digital products. That's not something that we do today. I personally am interested in some of those things. I think that's an interesting. I think those are. It's just nice to have change, and I think it opens us up to different problems to solve. Right? And then more townies hold LUMA practitioner and facilitator certifications for sure. We want to train the entire team. We're going to start with training some key people and kind of the discipline area experts, and then they will be teaching the rest of the group, and we will eventually be sending more and more people into this LUMA training.